Clase. So I just have your review sheet in front of me. If you could take it out, pause this video as needed just to get your materials or check something. So we just want to go through today and just get started. I'm not here, obviously. Get started on your review for the final exam next Friday. So the first section is La Casa. So what you want to do is you want to go through your voces in general and just check out where the different grammar points are and the vocabulary, just so you're using voces too to study. So you have a vocabulary sheet of this. If you want to look for it in your binder, it would have been one of the first, like toward the beginning of the year, the vocab we did. So grab this, or you can use it right in capítulo 12 and in voces en la casa. So that's part of your test, is reviewing certain vocab. So, for example, this would be an example question. If I have cama, you have to tell me, is it en la sala, la cocina, la habitación, el cuarto de baño? So I would definitely make sure that you know the rooms of the house really well, and other vocabulary with the house. So you just want to study that. You can use today to study a little bit. There's also activities within voces. So if you go here and say you wanted like some extra review on the casa, you can just go to the actividades, and usually you have all these activities that you can do. So see which ones are there, if you want to use that too as a review. So then the second part, clase, you want to go into, I put the chapters capítulo 15. So capítulo 15 has a chapter about emociones y situaciones. So you want to get comfortable with using sentirse, estar, and ponerse. So remember, when you say estoy, you're saying like I am. So you like say estoy emocionada porque es la última semana de clases. So you're basically taking, or you could use, there's other ways we could do it. We could also say me pongo. So you're supposed to be using all three of these. Me pongo feliz cuando es sábado. So me pongo feliz. And so you have estoy, estar, me pongo, I become. And then remember, this also sentirse. So you would say me siento. So make sure you know all three of those. Let's just jot them down. Me siento triste cuando veo una película triste. So I become sad cuando veo una película triste. So you're going to look at all the different emotions. So you have here deprimida, so depressed. And again, look for your vocab sheet right now. I want you to get all of your stuff together for the chapters that we've covered that you know will be on the exam, like these two so far, and have your materials. Just kind of put them together, clip them together, say this is like my study materials. Remember, you also have Quizlet though. I've made you a lot of different cards in there with the vocab, so you can use those too to study. There should be a sentimientos one. Just go back and look. So there's a lot of different ways you can review. So for these sentences, you want to write either use estoy, me pongo, or me siento. And you have to come up with situations like me siento deprimida cuando, and then you have to say like when you feel depressed. So a whole sentence very similar to, or you could say me siento estoy or me pongo. So you want to mix those up and do a couple of different ones. Don't just say estoy. And then we'll look at that later. So next clase, you want to get your capítulo 18. This is actually the last vocab that we covered. So you should have it handy. It's yellow, I think. And so you want to just study that vocab too. So keep that. You also have Quizlet. If you want anything from me, so say that you want some blickets for certain, you have to tell me specifically which blickets you want. I can make a set of blickets, but just jot it down on which blickets you think you would want. If you want just the vocab blickets, we could do a couple like that. But yeah, let me know. So for here, I do want you to do this today. It's saying in reading section, write a paragraph of at least 7 sentences describing what you need to do, basically a to-do list, in order to be ready for your upcoming trip. Use vocabulary from the chapter. So guess what? You have this question that's basically the same question pretty much on the test. So you have a question already that you can answer and just get prepared to answer for the test too. So remember, you're going to use tener que infinitivo. So you would say something like tengo que, and then which infinitive would you use? Tengo que hacer mi maleta. Don't copy mine, but try to come up with other examples, like I have to pack my suitcase. 7 sentences that you have to do to be ready for your trip. We have 6 actually, so it's not 7. So, and then the other phrase that we have is hay que. So, hay que plus infinitive, like you have to, or we have to. Hay que lavar la ropa, right? So you're just saying like we have to. So you can use hay que plus infinitive, but you need infinitives like these two. So tengo que, and think of 6 things that you have to do to get ready for your trip. Use your vocab. For part 2, I'm going to have an advertisement about traveling. So it'd just be like a picture of a person traveling, and there'll be different things on the ad. You'll have to, it's kind of like a little bit of a scavenger hunt. So you basically have to look for materials. I can actually show you this. So this is actually the infograph. So you would just read about different things, and it's a little tricky, the rating, but you can figure it out. There's a lot of cognates here that are very similar. So you're going to go to the true and false questions, which I can't give you right now, and you're just answering true or false. So that's the reading section. Okay, so then I do want you to try to go through some of these grammar topics. So it says Capítulo 14. Here you'll be following directions using commands and directions on how to get to different places. So what I would suggest is to go into Capítulo 14. So if you go into your voces, Capítulo 14, you're going to find this dando indicaciones. So I would just review these a little bit. You should have these as part of your Capítulo 14 notes too. So if you wanted to take those out. But there was also practices we did where you had to write, basically, there were directions. If you go into your voces, you should be able to do some activities too. So if you go down here, dando indicaciones, here's some practices. So you could do, like, for example, this is a really good example because this is what I'm going to give you directions just like this. And then you have to basically get to the place. So, or tell me what place you're at. So you definitely want to understand your directions and make sure. I would do maybe practice this a little bit. You did this already, but see if you can do it again to practice. The next section we have are the 2 commands. So hopefully you remember your 2 commands a little bit. It's been a little while. Remember what we do is we take the 2 form, the la usted form. So say that we have hablar. And just copy these down in your notes right now. And you want to tell someone talk. So remember what you're going to do is you're just going to say habla. So you take the la usted form of the 2, of just the verb in the present tense, and you just say habla. An example would be like, habla más español. And you have a whole bunch of notes on this too. You have a packet that I give you. So if you wanted to look for your packet, because it gives you all the irregulars, and it's a useful thing to have. It's like a chart on the front of it. So these are the notes that you have that I gave you. It says giving advice. So if you wanted to find that and work with it, because it gives you all your notes, it has all your negatives there. It has the affirmative and the negative commands. It has the directions on how to do the negative commands. So you would say, so let's go back here. So grab that if you have it. And then, so I say like escribir, to write. But I can't just say, if I want to tell someone write, I have to use the la usted form of the present tense, which would be escribe. So I might say, my command, I might say escríbeme, right? Remember, you can always attach pronouns to commands. So if it's a positive, so escríbeme, write to me. Correr, And LA usted would just be corre. And I would say like corre a casa, run home. So you're telling someone what to do. You're giving them a command. Come más vegetales. So you're telling someone what to do. So if you want to just jot down your irregulars, remember we have 10. We have hacer is as. Decir is di. Poner is pon. Venir is ven. Ir is ve. And salir is sal. So that we can't use the LA usted form for those. We actually have to use those irregular forms. So we have to memorize those. So what I'd like you to do right now is just pause this video and give me an example of a command using 10, using as. So you're going to write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 commands, 7 sentences that are commands using the irregular forms. Try to put some mays in there, lows in there, so I can see you attaching pronouns. Okay, so, and then the last thing for today, and you can start reviewing this stuff. This is also, I believe, capítulo 14, your command. So if you wanted to look at your notes there, you could. All right, negative commands. Remember, we use the opposite endings. So, for example, dormir. So I'm going to take the yo form of dormir in the present, which is duermo. It's a stem changer, so you do want to remember those. And I'm going to take off the o, and then I'm going to add the opposite ending. So if it's an AR verb, I'm going to add ES instead of AS. If it's an ER-IR verb, I'm going to add AS. So hopefully you remember some of this. And that's how you're going to tell someone not to do something. So if I want to say no, so I'm going to add AS because it's dormir, no duermas, right? Don't sleep. So I'm going to take my yo form, estudio, and I'm going to take off the O. I want to tell someone, don't study too much. So I'm going to add, since it's an AR verb, I'm going to add ES. No estudies tanto. Another verb, seguir, but I know that seguir is an E to I verb. So that's going to be, there's a stem change in there. So what's the yo form of that? It'd be sigo. And so if I want to say like, don't follow the instructions, how would I do that? You write that down for me now. Pause this video and stop this video right now. Don't take the answer. So how would you say don't follow the instructions? Pause this video. That would have been no sigas las instrucciones. Okay. So I did put a tool here. What I can do is I can put this in your updates. So I'll take this tool and put it there for you now. And you can practice those additional activities. And if you want to keep going, you can. There's some IOPs coming up. You can do those for your homework just to keep going with the review, and definitely get organized and have, what's on the test so far. You can grab your materials, put them together, maybe put them in a folder just so you're working with them. Okay. Gracias, chicas. Look in the updates for this.